Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Today we are going to deal with the correction of during part and during reading, part and after reading part. And we start with the during reading, of course. And if you remember, your instruction was to read the report carefully and answer these questions. So, number one, the author mentions his findings, the results in the second paragraph, and gives his interpretation, his conclusion about the results in the last paragraph, his deduction about his deduction, his conclusion, his own interpretation of the results in the last paragraph. Then he used the other. Why did he use the other? He used the other interestingly here to show us his surprise, or because he was surprised by the result. That's why he said interestingly, of course. He did not expect such results. 3, no, it does not. It was the opposite of what they thought. So they thought that young people were not charitable, and the results of the survey, of course, proved the opposite. So young people were charitable. Of course, that means they took part in some solidarity actions. Now, the indirect question is, he asked the teenager if they had experienced a natural or man-made disaster. So this is the indirect question here. Of course, if you say, well, how do you know that? It is the indirect question. So because of this verb he asked. See, he asked the teenager if. The statement is 70 of them said they had fat till mid-year here, this is the indirect statement, of course. Now, the author used indirect question and reported statement because he was reporting what they said. So he was reporting their direct question and the direct statement. That's why he used the indirect question and report statement, of course. Okay, and I hope it's clear. Now, concerning you after reading, of course, I'll give you 2 examples, number 1 and number 2, each one with a sentence here, each example with a sentence, and then I asked you, to read the examples carefully, and you answer the set of questions. Number 1, of course, did he use, what did he use? What punctuation did he use? And did he use the same punctuation in the indirect? So what punctuation did he use in the direct and the indirect? And did he use the same punctuation in the indirect question and reported statement? So in the direct here, as you can see, the journalist said, you've got a comma here after the verb said. And then you've got quotation marks here. So we open the quotation marks here, and then he asked his question, and then he closed here. So these one here, we call them quotation marks. So he used a comma and quotation marks in the question, and in the statement too. You've got the verb said, you've got a comma here, and then you've got he opened the quotation marks, he wrote the statement, full stop, and then he closed here. So he used the comma and quotation mark. Did he use the same punctuation in the indirect ones? No. Have a look. So this is how he reported the question. Of course, he said, he asked them if they had experienced an emergency situation. Full stop. Yes, he used the full stop here to end the indirect question, of course. 2, the statement, they answered that they had experienced man-made and natural disaster. Full stop, just a full stop. So he used just ordinary full stop, of course, but he did not use the comma. So he left out the comma and the quotation mark in the indirect. No comma here and no quotation marks. And in here, no comma and no quotation marks. So which verb did he use when he reported his question? Of course, the journalist said, and this is the question, of course, have you experienced an emergency situation? So to report the question, he used the verb ask in the simple past. So here in the direct, you've got the said, and it is a question. So in the indirect, he used the verb ask in the simple past, and he said asked. See, he asked them. In the direct statement, he used the verb said in the simple past. It is in the simple past too. And when he answered, of course, the statement, he used the verb answer in the simple past. See? In the question here, he used the direct one, you've got said. In the reported one, you've got asked in the simple past. In this statement here, it is said in the simple past. And when he reported the statement, sometimes he used answer, and sometimes he used said. And we can use other verbs too. We will see it later on. Okay. Now, is there a difference between the tenses which are in the direct question and in the direct statement and the tenses which are used in the reported ones? Of course, yes, there is a difference. In the direct question, he used the present perfect. So this is your direct question, and he says, have you experienced? Have and experience. Which tense is it here? It is the present perfect. And in the statement, he used the simple past. In the statement, he said, they said, we experienced. So this is the simple past. But when he reported the question, of course, when he reported his question, have a look at this tense here. They had experience. So what is this tense here? Which tense is it here? So it is the past perfect. In here, in the direct question, it is the present perfect. In the indirect one, it is the past perfect. In the statement, in the direct statement here, he used the simple past, and in the reported one, he used the past perfect. See? So there is a difference here in tenses, of course. Why? Because he was repeating what they said. This is one. He was repeating their words indirectly, if you can say, and he had to change the tenses. He had to change the tenses to report what they said correctly, of course, and to avoid ambiguity or confusion, of course. He had to choose the right tense. This is one. Two, because the verb here, this verb here, sad is in the simple past. And when the verb here in the direct speech in simple past, we call it the introductory verb, is in the simple past. So we must change the tenses which are inside the quotation here. When we report, we must change the tenses here, whether it is a question or a statement.